June 19, 1815, London Stock Exchange, 7 a.m. Nathan takes his spot at the Rothschild pillar, the same corner he stands at every day, hands in pockets. He says nothing. He looks at the board. British government stocks are already weak and falling. 3 days ago, news broke that Wellington's forces had taken heavy losses at Quatre Bras. The market is nervous. Investors are whispering. Is Napoleon winning? Is Britain finished? Nathan Rothschild reaches into his coat, and he starts selling all his shares. Not a little, everything. The share price begins dropping fast across the entire trading floor. 10%, 15%. The floor starts to panic. If Rothschild is selling everything, it can only mean one thing. Napoleon has won and Britain has fallen. Within hours, the London Stock Exchange is in freefall, and Nathan Rothschild, the man who single-handedly caused the crash, is quietly buying back every bond he just sold at a fraction of the price. Because Nathan Rothschild knew something no one else in London knew. Wellington hadn't lost Waterloo. Wellington had won, and Nathan had known since the night before. To understand how one man came to hold Europe's fate in his hands, you have to go back to a ghetto in Frankfurt, Germany. 1777, Nathan Mayer Rothschild is born into a world with a locked gate, literally, the Frankfurt Judengasse, the Jewish lane, a narrow, overcrowded street where Jews were required by law to live, forbidden from most professions, and barred from leaving after dark. His father, Mayer Amschel Rothschild, is a coin dealer. He studies rare coins the way other men study scripture, because to him, understanding value is survival. He teaches his 5 sons one rule: information is the only asset that can't be taken from you. Mayer sends each son to a different financial capital of Europe: James to Paris, Salomon to Vienna, Karl to Naples. Amschel stays in Frankfurt, and Nathan, the sharpest, the most ruthless, the one who sees patterns where others see noise, goes to London. Nathan arrives in England in 1798, age 21, with £20,000 of his father's capital and one obsession: speed. Not speed on horseback, speed of information. He builds what no government, no bank, no emperor has thought to build: a private intelligence network that stretches across every major city in Europe. He built a chain of messengers on horseback, private boats waiting at the coastline, and pigeons trained to carry secret messages, all so he could hear news before anyone else. While Napoleon's armies are marching, Nathan Rothschild is quietly building something more powerful than any army. He is building the infrastructure of knowing first. Here is the part they don't teach in history class. The Rothschilds didn't just profit from the Napoleonic Wars. In many ways, they made the war possible. By 1812, the British war effort is hemorrhaging money. Wellington's army is grinding through Spain in the Peninsular Campaign. 100,000 soldiers need food, weapons, wages, every single month. The British government needs £100,000 a month just to keep the army alive. In today's money, that's over $5 million every 30 days. The problem? Britain's allies, Austria, Prussia, Russia, won't accept paper money. They want gold, hard coin, physical metal that can be minted, weighed, and trusted. The British government tries to build its own supply network. It fails. They turn to established London banks. They fail too. Then they knock on Nathan Rothschild's door. What Nathan has that no established bank does is 5 brothers in 5 cities, each with local connections, local currencies, and local trust. Within weeks, Nathan builds a gold pipeline that runs from London to Wellington's supply chain in the field, pulling coin from Mexico, from India, from the Mughal Empire, from the United States. The Rothschild archive still holds a velvet case of sample coins: silver dollars from Mexico, gold coins from Colombia, coins stamped with Arabic from the Mughal Empire, all collected and funneled into a single war machine. Wellington calls them indispensable. Nathan calls it the best business he ever did, and the machine is just getting started. By 1813, Europe is drowning in war. Armies are no longer fighting battles measured in days. They are fighting campaigns measured in years. And wars require something far less glamorous than cannons and cavalry: money. Every month, British commanders across Europe send desperate requests back to London. We need wages. We need ammunition. We need food. We need gold. The problem is getting that gold where it needs to go. Roads are infested with bandits. Ports are blockaded. French spies watch every major trade route, and every shipment is a target. For most banks, moving thousands of pounds worth of gold across a continent at war is impossible. For Nathan Rothschild, it becomes routine. His brothers coordinate transfers from city to city like pieces on a chessboard. A shipment leaves London, another appears in Frankfurt, another is exchanged in Vienna, another is delivered to military suppliers in Spain. Gold is rarely transported directly. Instead, debts are exchanged, credits are balanced, and trusted agents settle accounts across borders. The result is something revolutionary. The Rothschilds create a financial network capable of moving enormous wealth across Europe faster and more safely than governments themselves. British officials begin relying on them for operations that once belonged to the state, and every successful delivery strengthens the family's reputation. The war is turning the Rothschilds into something new, not merely bankers, but the financial infrastructure of Europe. The secret of the Rothschild empire was never Nathan alone. It was the system. 5 brothers, 5 cities, 1 family. Every week, letters race across Europe, carrying market prices, military updates, political rumors, and coded instructions. Hundreds of letters, thousands of pieces of information. A government minister in Vienna might know what is happening in Austria. A merchant in Paris might know what is happening in France, but the Rothschildater know what is happening everywhere. When wheat prices rise in Naples, they know. When government bonds weaken in Vienna, they know. When Napoleon moves troops across Belgium, they know. Information flows into the family network like rivers feeding an ocean. And unlike governments, which often distrust one another, the brothers share everything. Their greatest competitive advantage is not money. It is trust, a trust built on blood, family, and absolute secrecy. Competitors try to imitate them. Governments attempt to monitor them. Rivals spread rumors about them. None can match the speed of a network operating across an entire continent. By 1815, before Waterloo is even fought, the Rothschilds possess something unprecedented in financial history: a private communication system connecting the economic capitals of Europe. And in a world where information travels only as fast as a horse can run, most people think the Rothschilds made their fortune at Waterloo by getting lucky. They didn't get lucky. They engineered the advantage. For 2 decades of war, information in Europe traveled at the speed of a horse or a sailing ship. A battle fought in Belgium would take days to reach London. For days, the whole market would just stop moving. Wealthy investors would sit paralyzed, not knowing what to do, and people were making and losing fortunes based on unconfirmed gossip. Nathan Rothschild decided to solve this. He builds a courier network unlike anything Europe has seen.
Immediately.
Not one courier, rotating relays, fresh horses at every checkpoint, Rothschild ships waiting at channel ports, pigeons as redundancy, and at every node of the network, a trusted agent trained to encode and transmit news in cipher. When a battle happens anywhere in Europe, the Rothschild network knows before the war ministers do. On June 18, 1815, the night of the Battle of Waterloo, a Rothschild agent is stationed near the battlefield. The moment Wellington breaks Napoleon's final charge, the agent rides hard to Dunkirk. He boards a Rothschild ship. He crosses the channel through the night. Nathan Rothschild receives the news in London at dawn on June 19th. Wellington's official messenger doesn't arrive until the evening of June 21st. Nathan has a 36-hour window. 36 hours in which he is the only man in England who knows the shape of the future. What he does with that window is either the most brilliant trade in financial history or the most audacious psychological operation ever run on a stock exchange. Probably both. Let's be precise about what Nathan does on the morning of June 19th. He does not run to the government. He does not publish the news. He does not celebrate. He goes to the stock exchange. He leans against his pillar, and he sells. Traders on the floor know Nathan's reputation. When Rothschild moves, markets move. The moment Nathan starts aggressively selling all his British government stocks, every single trader on the floor immediately understands that something catastrophic has happened. The panic spreads in minutes. Other investors begin selling. British stocks lose almost all their value in a matter of minutes. The entire market reads Nathan's action as a signal that Napoleon has won, that British debt is about to become worthless paper. And as the market falls, Nathan's agents, positioned quietly across the floor, begin buying. Every single British stock Nathan sold that morning comes back to him at a fraction of the price. Then, 2 days later, Wellington's messenger arrives. The news finally arrives that Britain has won the Battle of Waterloo. Napoleon has been completely defeated, and the whole of Europe has been saved from his rule forever. Stocks explode upward. The market celebrates. Britain is safe. The stocks Nathan bought at crash prices are now worth a fortune. 1 year after Waterloo, the family's combined wealth had doubled. Within a decade, Nathan Rothschild's personal fortune was estimated at £2 million. The equivalent of over 200 million today. The Rothschild Bank was, without question, the most powerful private financial institution on earth. He built a network faster than governments. He financed a war. He outtraded every investor in London using news they didn't have, and he did it all in an era with no telegraphs, no phones, no internet, just horses, ships, pigeons, and the sharpest mind in European finance. Today, Hedge funds spend millions of dollars to shave a single millisecond off their data transmission times for exactly the same reason Nathan Rothschild built his courier network in 1800. The game hasn't changed. Only the pigeons have.